Hi everyone, my name is Kartik and my channel is about mental models. I hope you're enjoying my videos, and if you are, then please like and share with everyone that you know, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Today I'm going to be talking about copy and paste. Yes, believe it or not, there is a mental model which is all about copy and paste, and it's called replication. Please don't get confused. The word replication is just a fancy way of saying copy and paste, but using it makes you sound more intelligent. Now, some of you may be thinking that I know all about copy and paste. That's how I got through school, so I'm an expert. So what can I teach you that you already don't know? Well, please bear with me, because I'm sure you'll find the mental model of copy and paste quite interesting. And just to add, there are effective ways of replication, and I will explain that later in the video about how these effective ways can be achieved. Replication is important in many walks of life, and whilst copying and pasting sounds easy when you're just copying a document into your notebook, so you've got something there and then you've got your own book and you're just sort of transferring the text in, it is more than just that. Replication is more than just that. So let's take bacteria that are multiplying. So you've got bacteria and then they multiply. And in this process of dividing and multiplying, the bacteria needs to replicate its genetic code. If they don't make effective copies, then the bacteria won't function as planned. This in itself is a biological process, this bacteria multiplying and dividing. But at the heart of it, it is replication, and it is about information transfer. So is this. It's about information transfer. And bacteria sort of dividing like this is very efficient, because we've all heard that we have a sort of a bacterial infection, or we have the flu, or we have some form of illness which is bacterial, and we feel the onset of that, but in a sort of a small way. We feel a little bit unwell, and then all of a sudden we feel very, very unwell, and so that's the bacteria multiplying. If we don't sort of treat it very quickly, or before it sort of divides too much, we will need further medication and further treatment, so it's best to catch it early. But this is an example, this is the example, the bacteria one is the example of the kind of replication I am talking about. It's not just the simple copy and paste, the transfer of a document into your book that I'm talking about. It's about this kind of thing, and this on the face of it, even though it's at the heart of it is about information transfer, doesn't look like it is. So, as I said before, this mental model is important in many walks of life, and its importance is due to what we can learn from it, which is that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can imitate or copy what others are doing and use this as a way to progress. This also gives a way forward when the task information is copied over, and then once we're familiar with this method, with the task, we can innovate. So there's a way that someone is sort of doing something, and then we can observe and copy that. And once we are familiar with the way that this task is being handled, we can innovate and make it better, and also adapt the tasks to a new way forward. And so that's the power of replication. It's in its exponential nature. And by that I mean we can copy something and another can go and copy us. So we've copied there, and then going forward someone else can copy us and then maybe add on to that task. And so this can go on indefinitely. And so that's what I mean by the exponential nature. Replication can go on indefinitely. An example of this indefinite nature of replication is something becoming viral on social media. There's only one original. Let's say this was the original. There's only one original, but that thing, that whatever it is being shared and replicated over and over and over again. And that's what's making it viral, the copy and paste. Even though it's the same thing being shared over and over again, it's the same thing, that it's not been changed. Yes, there might be a tweak here and there might be a caption added or something, as things are on social media, but the main content, the original thing, is not changed. It's indefinitely being shared. So how are the effective ways of replication achieved? Well, effective replication requires two things. Number one, enough space and structure. And number two, enough flexibility to adapt. So those are the two things. So when we copy, we make at least one another of something. And if there's no place to accommodate this, be that storage for copy documentation or people to take on board replicated tasks, then we can't replicate. And that's what I mean by the space element here. And in relation to number two, we must be mindful that just because copying can go on indefinitely, it doesn't mean that it will. And if it does go on, then it doesn't mean that it will continue to be just as effective as the original. And so we need to be able to adapt to the environment. So that's the flexibility to adapt. We need to be able to adapt to the environment and modify the approach that is taken or required. And I want you to cast your minds back to the map is not the territory mental model. Essentially, what may have worked before may not work going forward. Also, going back to organisms, sort of this example here, we must also be mindful that replication can be cancerous, and so we must ensure that there are checks and balances. So things don't get out of hand. And finally, similar to adaptation, mutations can also happen. These are like errors creeping in, and we must be careful of these. But this also, mutation that is, also provides some form of reasoning of why we need to adapt. So I'll sort of link it here as well. So you've got mutations that you need to be mindful of, and that's another reason to have this flexibility to adapt. So these are the two drivers that make replication effective: space and structure, and the flexibility to adapt. And so replication, or copying and pasting, have both negative and positive consequences, and one must resist spreading what is false, harmful and destructive, and focus on those ideas, concepts, frameworks, tasks that are beneficial, add value and are constructive to life. And on that bombshell, that is all for this video. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then please check out my earlier videos flashing on screen now. I'm sure you will like them too. And I will see you in the next video with another mental model. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.